has India drawn a red line against the 25% tariff and penalty imposed by US? What is this currency equation by Russia and India which marks the strength of their friendship in the testing times? And how India has told that Indian economy is on the rise and not a dead economy? US President Donald Trump decided to hit and target India with 25% tariff and with the tag of the dead economy, and India has boldly replied back that it is not a dead economy. Furthermore, India has gone ahead and clarified that India will continue its relations with Russia, for which it is being targeted because we will be looking towards our own national interest. And this is another fact that we need to understand, that India and Russia together have taken a strike at dollar, and that is an indirect work towards US itself. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajiram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and today we will be talking about India's reply to US and also this Indo-Russian partnership, that how it has grown over years, and in this chaotic, tense time when US is again targeting India, how India and Russia are again ready to strike back. So when we talk about the background of this particular situation, it comes from the imposition of tariff that was announced yesterday by President Donald Trump, and it is being based on the fact that India is doing very little business with them, especially because of the high walls of tariff that we have at our domestic end. That is what is being quoted by President Donald Trump. And the imposition was not just of 25% tariff, they have included additional penalty which has not been defined yet. For what? Because India is basically fueling Russia's wartime economy, and India has not been able to dissociate it from Russia. As the important factor that needs to be understood here is that US wants to isolate Russia and stop the Russia-Ukraine war by choking Russia's economy. And that is not working out for US because Russia's economy has other partners as well, be it India, be it China, and US is now targeting these economies which are facilitating Russia. So this is a form of secondary sanctions that are coming in. Now this tariff is being used as a tool. Now when we talk about these tariffs, they have their own impact, and these impacts can be understood in detail. You can find the video in the Flash News playlist where you will understand the impact of these tariffs. The reasons have been stated too, two simple reasons. What are the reasons? First reason is that India places high tariffs and non-monetary trade barriers, and India is not budging on that. India does this to protect its domestic economy. India does it to protect its small dairy farmers, small farmers, agricultural sector, which is the backbone of our country. But at the same time, US is also worried about trade deficit that is present at their end, and these are the two primary reasons that his liberation idea has been taken off finally. Now, if we have to understand the geopolitical context herein, we have to understand the fact that this tariff is basically only a tool to put direct pressure on India, which is associated with Russia, not just for its energy supplies, but also some defense partnerships. And furthermore, US has been so clear in its aggression and how it is not very happy about this partnership, that the Commerce Secretary in US has said that BRICS nation, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, as well as Russian, they basically, all the deals that are happening between them have rubbed the US in the wrong way. That means US is aggravated that BRICS is facilitating Russia. And this is the impact that we are seeing. Basically, US President Donald Trump before the BRICS summit also was very clear that if there is any move by BRICS nation against dollar or US, they will be slapped with tariffs, or if they are operating with Russia, they will be slapped with tariffs, and we are seeing the result in front of us. Now, President Donald Trump specifically used a term for two economies here, Russia and India, and in his platform Truth Social, he stated that they can take their dead economies down. So he clearly said that Russia and India are dead economies and he is not very interested in these economies. But the problem with this statement is that ours is not a dead economy. Our Commerce Minister has gone ahead and given a strategic, befitting and bold reply to it. The India message that has gone out, it is not just in submissive tone, rather it has asserting tones of sovereignty. It is not in defiance, it is in assertive tones of sovereignty. And basically the key points that have been highlighted in this statement are the fact that India will protect its national interest. So when we are talking about international relations, one basic key understanding, one basic key rule is that there are no permanent friends, there are no permanent enemies. There is only thing that is permanent, that is our own interest. And that permanent interest India is going to pursue whenever we are making any kind of deal, be it with any kind of economy across the world. There is no external pressure that can dictate India what kind of Indian policy, economic policy we will be following, what kind of foreign policy we will be following, and using tariffs to pressurize India into a such situation is not fair. So India remains open if US wants to come onto the table and if it wants to talk about fair and reciprocal trade, but if they are asking India to come and cut down on their strategic independence that they have built, India is not ready to do so. Furthermore, in this very statement, there has been further clarification. There has been a subtle hint to the fact where Trump claimed that our economy is a dead economy. Mr. Goyal went ahead and clearly pointed out that India has came out of fragile 5 economies and at present it is the fastest growing economy of the world. India stands in the top 5 economies and it is about to become the 3rd largest economy in few years. That means India is not a dead economy, rather it is in a shining bright spot when we talk about global trade and global economy. So it clearly has been highlighted that India will look after its national interests, it is going to maintain its partnership, strategic independence, and furthermore, as to the fact that we are being called out for being a dead economy, we are not that, and numbers speaks for themselves, where we see rising exports, where we see 3.9 trillion economy as of 2025 end, and there is a global recognition that has been coming through as Vishwa Bandhu, Vishwa Mitra, that is a trusted global partner. Now, in all of this highlight, this clearly shows that India is not operating in undertones. India is ready to come out and talk about their interests, be it related to counter-terrorism, be it related to economic partnership, be it related to trade agreements herein. And in this very context, India clearly has been signaling that we are going to resist any kind of bullying and there is not breakdown of relationship that will happen. So US had called India friend at a time, but it seems that US has conditional friendship with India, but India is very strategic, being very strategic about it, where India will not give in to the external pressure that is being put on, but there will be no absolute breakdown. India is going to play smart about it. Secondly, the message that India is giving, that India is somebody who should be treated equally. It shouldn't be treated like that India can be used as an entity to get another job done. That is, India is not a pawn. India should be considered a partner. If you see us at that level, then we are going to come in and talk. If not, then we are not going to be part of it. And in this very context, yesterday itself there has been announcement of India-Russia further enhancement of financial ties. How it has been announced? It has been announced through currency diplomacy, where Rupee-Ruble mechanism will be further used for other goods. As of now, it is just being used for fertilizers, petrochemical goods, that's all. But it is going to be expanded. But what is the reason that we see India and Russia's ties so strong till date that India might have to take US on just to keep its ally? Russia here. So when we talk about the historical background, this alliance, the ally that India and Russia are, it goes back in time, and we have a very clear historical foundation here as well. When we talk about historical foundation, we find that 1971 was a key turning point when Indo-Soviet Treaty was signed. So back then it was not just Russia, it was USSR, and this treaty was signed, and Soviet Union has helped India, be it in 1917 Bangladesh Liberation War, be it in the 1962 the Sino-Indian War that we saw. So Russia and its predecessor Soviet Union have a historical background. Furthermore, we have strategic defense ties with them. If we talk about S-400, if we talk about BrahMos, if we talk about Igla-S, all of these are still dependent on tech when we talk about Russia, and Russia has been happy to facilitate their production. And when we talk about all of these are still dependent on Russian technology. As of now, if we talk about arms supply, India has Russia as one of the biggest arms suppliers. Now that also ties us in terms of defense. Furthermore, if we look at energy security, Russia is helping us when we are dependent. We are dependent for 80% of our oil needs. Here in Russia, we are getting discounted oil as of now because of the sanction-stricken economy they have. And India, without even worrying about the repercussions, that means India is not looking into any sort of political alignment just for its strategic interests. It imports almost 43% of its oil needs as of now. Furthermore, if we talk about trade, especially between India and Russia, almost $65 billion trade is already happening, more than that, and furthermore it is expected that it will go up to $100 billion by 2030. There have been treaties for import of talent from India to Russia, and now comes the new announcement that has been made from Russia's end that there will be further expansion of Rupee-Ruble mechanism so as to ensure that that can be used for other goods as well. So what exactly is Rupee-Ruble mechanism? It is nothing but the fact that Russia has Indian rupees in special Vostro accounts, and these Indian rupees are kept in Indian banks. Now these rupees are used to pay for the Indian exports that are happening. So wherever a good from India goes to Russia, Russia pays in rupees. So this transaction is happening in rupees. And in return, whenever India imports Russian crude oil or defense equipment, it is happening without using US dollar or any other dominant currency. That means this is a direct step that announces that India and Russia are making attempts towards de-dollarization. And this is nothing but using currency as a tool which can be easily understood as currency diplomacy. Now, what will this do for India and Russia? So basically, it will give Russia the sanctions resistance it needs, because as of now, if Russia needs continued trade, and because of sanction, it is not happening. Now, this will facilitate continued trade without any blockage of the Western sanctions, and there will be no risk associated with being cut off from the SWIFT, because Russia has already removed from that. But as of now, this system is not related to SWIFT. It is related to Vostro accounts. It is being done through Vostro accounts. What is in it for India? When we talk about India, India gets to internationalize rupee. Basically, it supports India's goal for using Indian rupee in international trade. It reduces our vulnerability, proneness to dollar fluctuations and US financial pressure that we see. If we talk about the announcement of tariffs, that is when rupee had to hit a record low of almost 87.59 rupee per $1. So these are the things that are mutually beneficial to each other, and these two countries aim to continue on this particular front itself. Furthermore, in the coming times, we clearly get to see that India is building a sanctions-proof multipolar, so that our all eggs are not in one basket and we will have a proper financial strategy. It is our clear part of vision where we want to internationalize rupee, that we want to trade in national currency, we want to hold our strategic autonomy, and furthermore, we want to be resilient to global shocks or international pressures which has been tried to be created by US. Now that was all from my side. Thank you so much.